Broadway comes to Lexington, 20 years of the Fairness Ordinance, and Partners for Youth summer programs. All this and more in this week's edition of Lexington Now. I'm Neil Noah, and this is Lexington Now for the week of July 8th, 2019. The Jets and the Sharks will clash this weekend in Lexington Theater Company's production of West Side Story. We were at the announcement.
When Jeremy and I set out to create the Lexington Theater Company 5 years ago, we had two very specific intentions. The first was to create first-rate professional theater for Central Kentucky, and the second was to serve as a training ground and a performance platform for the next generation of musical theater artists. We begin our 5th season combining today's Broadway stars and tomorrow's Broadway hopefuls to present West Side Story and Newsies. We are so excited to welcome here today our guest stars from Broadway and New York City, Evie Ortiz playing Maria, Colton Ryan playing Tony, Michelle Alves playing Anita, and Sean Ewing playing Bernardo. They are joined by incredibly talented college students from top programs across the country and across the Bluegrass State. We are joined by some incredible local Lexington actors who bring so much to our productions, not to mention the Central Kentucky youth and high school students who participate in our apprentice program. This group comes together with a local and nationally based creative team, including director Mark Madama, choreographer Mark Esposito, music director Brock Terry, as well as over 30 professional musicians from Central Kentucky. Together we create theater. We pass the craft. We delight our audiences, and we do so with the pursuit of excellence, a spirit of generosity, a love of live theater, and a focus on giving back to the Central Kentucky community and to the theatrical community at large.
What a great day to be in Lexington and celebrate our thriving arts community. Specifically, I'm talking about a celebration of the Lexington Theater Company's 5th season, kicking off next week right here at the Opera House with West Side Story. This 5th season is an important milestone for the Lex and its mission to bring together today's Broadway stars and tomorrow's Broadway hopefuls. It's a model that's working, and Lexington is the beneficiary. We get to enjoy first-rate professional theater, and our young people get the opportunity to work and learn from professionals. It is my pleasure to welcome home Colton Ryan. Colton, from right here in Lexington, was one of those Broadway hopefuls when he attended our School for the Creative and Performing Arts. And now he's well on his way to being one of those Broadway stars. As you heard, he is starring in West Side Story in the lead role as Tony.
I found out about this about 12 hours ago, so I'll be brief. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the only reason this could have ever happened to me, and that is because of SCAPA and the Governor's School for the Arts and Summerfest and the Rep and all the ones that have come and gone, and the Lex. And in my experience, arts and education are not parallels, they're symbiotic. And And the fact that all these institutions have maintained here in Lexington is very, to me, it's a miracle. It's very hopeful in my heart. And the fact that the Lex asked me to come back and celebrate with them means the world, that I can be even a small part of it. Their mission is just that, to combine culture and education, and those are the only tenets of my life. So this is really for them, and I really thank them for letting me be a part of it and letting me come home and drink at Charlie Brown's. So appreciate it. So thank you very much.
20 years ago, a landmark ordinance was passed by the Urban County Council. The anniversary was marked by Mayor Linda Gorton and city officials.
We're going to get started here in just a moment, but first we have a little unveiling surprise to give to you.
In a way, it's hard to believe it was 20 years ago that we passed our fairness ordinance. In some ways, it seems like just yesterday. I was a brand new, newly elected council member back in 1999, and right out of the gate, I was contacted by community members such as Deborah Hensley, Ernesto Scorsoni, Patty Cooper, and Carolyn Brott, who all wanted to educate me. And I knew that this was a very important issue, and the LGBTQ and allied community was calling out for help. As the debates moved forward, the discussions became harder. There were times when council members were threatened, we were belittled, we were berated, we were told we were not going up, we were going down. And so to many of us, this behavior was a clear indication of one reason we had to pass this ordinance. In 1999, after days of phone calls, letters, people who just randomly knocked on our front doors, our council passed the ordinance, and our mayor, Pam Miller, was so proud to sign it into law. So here we are, 20 years later, and very thankful to the community advocates, council, and mayor, who stood up in early July 1999 and said, "We respect fairness for all." Note the words fairness and respect. It was all about people. We have lost a few of those who worked really hard to pass this ordinance. I know I won't be able to name everyone, but we especially miss the voice of former councilmember Dr. David Stevens and the tremendous advocacy of Scotty Saltzman and Joan Callahan. So decades before Lexington had a fairness ordinance, there was a large group who declared they had had enough and rebelled against persecution and inequality. This year is especially momentous for us, 20 years of fairness in Lexington and 50 years since the Stonewall movement in New York City. Just like it was right to stand up against unequal treatment in New York City in 1969, it was right to support equality in Lexington in 1999. The Stonewall Uprising is a testament to the power of people and the belief in what's right. Our Constitution lays out the rights of all people to be free, and the freedom from hate and discrimination is what the Lexington Fairness Ordinance is all about. This ordinance started a foundation for making Lexington a great city, and we were the first county-wide fairness ordinance that included protections against employment, housing, and public accommodations discrimination. Here in Lexington, we've continued to move toward fairness and diversity. We know we are never perfect, but we strive to be better. Just a few things that our city has done to support our LGBTQ community since the 1999 Fairness Ordinance include passage of domestic partner benefits for city employees in 2013. I was happy to sponsor this legislation and advocate for it during my time as vice mayor. We have nearly 24 organizations providing support and services for the LGBTQ community. Lexington has elected several open LGBTQ officials. We have LGBTQ liaisons in the mayor's office and the police department. Rainbow crosswalks. A commitment to increase diversity on our city boards and commissions. And this year, for the first time, historic pride flags fly on Main Street. And the work continues, and I'm committed to keep it going. So now to tonight's big announcement. As you know, last year, the city, Just Fund Kentucky, and the Faulkner Morgan Archive worked together to have 2 historical markers made celebrating LGBTQ history here in Lexington. There's the marker showcasing the 1992 Wasson Supreme Court ruling that decriminalized consensual homosexual relations in Kentucky, and thanks to Ernesto Scorsoni for representing Jeffrey Wasson in court. Ernesto. And the other celebrates the Bar, which is the oldest continuous LGBTQ gathering place in Kentucky. I'm very happy to say that we now have a historical marker for Lexington's landmark Fairness Ordinance. Right outside the front door of our government center, a marker is committed to showcasing the importance of this law.
After the break, Partners for Youth summer programs. Welcome back to Lexington Now. Finding ways to keep kids busy during the summer break can be a challenge, but Partners for Youth is here to help. Brianna Pursley fills us in.
Hi, my name is Brianna Pursley. I'm the Executive Director of Partners for Youth. Partners for Youth is an agency that is under the LFUCG umbrella, and our office is located at 162 East Main Street, Suite 210. Partners for Youth started back in 1994 after a tragedy, and from that tragedy, Partners for Youth was born. We are a nonprofit agency, and we do many things for youth. Our mission is to promote positive youth development and to prevent juvenile delinquency through collaboration and capacity building. We do many things through our I Do initiative, which is a partnership with churches, colleges, other organizations throughout the city that come to our community partners table, and we find many creative ways to serve families and their youth and children. So I Do is an initiative throughout the city, and we have community partners tables in Cardinal Valley, Gainesway, and the West End. And I Do stands for Identifying Opportunities, Developing Relationships, and Organizing Partnerships. One of the many things that we do with that is Adopt a Park, and that is in June, coming up this summer in Valley Park on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. And then we'll be doing it again in July in the Gainesway Park and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. And so those are just fun, creative ways that we come up with to serve youth and families within those communities. One of the many things that people love about the I Do is our I Do summer list. Those are free, affordable programming throughout the summer to serve children and youth. Some of those are just a one and done, which you'll find on the very back of the pamphlet, and others go throughout the summer. But that's a really, really good list to find. Our community partners send us their information and we compile it into a list that's easy to access via internet. A lot of people will print them off and disperse them throughout their churches or their community organizations just to get the word out there about what kids can do. As we all know, sometimes kids get into a little trouble during the summer because they just don't have opportunities that are available through them, and that's when the I Do list was developed so that we can make sure to disseminate that information throughout the city. Within the I Do list, you'll also find different camps throughout the city. We have over 70 in there this year, which is pretty great. You know, there's lots of opportunities that are a mix of things. They offer anywhere from art to music lessons to recreation to tutoring, some equine programs. So you're going to find a plethora of opportunities throughout the city for the summer. So we newly released our 2019 Grassroots Grants Allocations Programs. Partners for Youth is a clearinghouse for funds, and we offer anywhere from $750 to $3,000 in a grant form to people that want to provide positive youth programming throughout the city. This year we have announced that we have offered or sponsoring 26 programs this year, and that list is also available for you to find on our Facebook page, our website, and also it's announced on Instagram. But we like to make sure that we are able to shout those out as well. Some of them are offered in the summer only, and some are offered in the summer during the fall semester and also during winter break and or January. And so those are good programs that kids can also be involved in. Some are specific to an area and some are citywide. So we always encourage people to check those out as well.
Lexington police have launched Lex ID Me to help identify crime suspects. Sergeant Donnell Gordon is here to tell us about it. So Sergeant Gordon, what exactly is Lex ID Me?
All right, so Lex ID Me, that's what we're calling it. It was actually brought up by our detectives and also some supervisors who have these cases that doesn't meet the Crime Stoppers level of felony charges, but they fell a little bit below that to where we had video surveillance of people and we just did not know who they were. So it was so frustrating knowing that we have this video surveillance and we have a crime that committed, but we just didn't have a name. So our detectives, a lot of times what will happen with these cases is just that they will still continue to investigate them, but they will be put away in the file until this person either committed another crime and we can kind of look at their surveillance and match them up and hold them accountable for those other cases. But it depended on that person committed another crime. So these were cases that we really just had, we needed some help. So we create this tool, Lex ID Me, and we wanted the public to get involved. You know, our whole goal here at this police department, we're dedicated to community policing. So this was a way for us to bring the community in with our social media networks and our city government website, with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Nextdoor. This is a way that we can bring in our community to help us solve some of these unsolved crimes. All you have to do, it's a simple process. It's kind of basic. You know, it's one of those things that when something's created, it's like, why haven't we been doing this a long time ago? But, you know, and what some people fail to realize is that there's no such thing as a petty crime. When somebody calls the police, that's huge for that individual. And we understand that. So we want to make sure that these crimes that are happening are taken care of. People should, you know, have justice for crimes that are committed against them. It's simple. I mean, it's one of these things that you can be sitting down with dinner. It could be a dinner conversation. You can sit down at dinner, at a doctor's office, dentist's office, at the park. You know, it's one of those things that you can sit down, go to lexidme.com. The web page will come up. You click on that page, and you scroll down, and then you'll start seeing pictures of individuals that allegedly committed crimes. All you do is click on that picture, and with that picture, there's a case number. There's information about the crime that was committed. And just below that, if you scroll down a little bit more, there's information that you fill out. There's blocks that you fill out. Suspect's name, last name, vehicle description, also any type of extra notes that you can provide, like a place of work, a story that, you know, I know this person from, you know, we shop, or we shop at the same place, we go to the same stores, I've seen this person there. Those are little details that we can follow up on. So it's just pretty much anything that we can follow up on. Right below that, there's information on how you can either optionally fill your name in if you want to. If not, you can leave that blank and submit to us so it comes in as an anonymous tip. When you actually submit that call, there's a step that happens. It goes directly to the actual detective, and that detective is tied to that case number. So that's why you see the case number at the very top. So if it also goes to the supervisor. So that supervisor can look up who's actually handling the case, and he can make sure that case is being followed up. But it also goes to our office, the Public Information Office, so that way we can track that these are actually being followed up, and we can actually take them out once they're actually solved. So there is a process that happens. Once it happens, then these detectives, they go out, they follow up on the tip, and they try to find who this individual is. Right now, we did have one case. It's been out less than a week. We have one case that's actually is pending. So we built enough probable cause from a tip to be able to place charges on the individual. So we know it's working. And this morning I've received 6 tips on my email account saying that with information that may provide us to someone else. So it's working. Our community is enjoying it. We love it. Our detectives are upstairs celebrating now. They're getting some movement on some cases, and I guess that gets the supervisors off their back a little bit. So now they're happy about that too. So we're happy that we can get the community involved in this. Our department's happy that we can actually bring some justice to some of these crimes that are happening.
This is the final week of city business for the Urban County Council before summer recess. Chris, what's coming up?
Thanks, Neil. The council goes on their summer break this week, but before they do, there's lots of meetings to tell you about for the week of July 8th. On Monday, the council will hold 2 zone change public hearings beginning at 5:30 p.m. The first is a zone change request for the property at 3330 Todd's Road, changing the zone from an agricultural urban AU zone to a high-density apartment R4 zone. The second is for the property at 3450 and 3550 Todd's Road, changing the zone from a single-family residential R1D zone to a townhouse R1T zone and a residential business B1 zone. If you miss these meetings on Monday, you can catch them replayed on Saturday and anytime on the city's website. On Tuesday, July 9th, the council will begin at 1 p.m. with the General Government and Social Services Committee meeting. During this meeting, there will be a conversation on homeless camps and a presentation on the historic courthouse. Then at 3 p.m., the council will hold their usual work session meeting. At 4 p.m. on Tuesday, the council scheduled confirmation hearings for 2 vacant positions on the Planning Commission. Finally, on Tuesday, the council will hold their final formal council meeting before going on their summer break. We can expect many items on the docket to get 2 readings, since it won't be until mid-August when the council meets again. But before the readings begin, we'll have the recognition of LexTrans Million Milers drivers and maintenance crews. On Wednesday, July 10th at 9 a.m., Lex TV will bring the Police and Fire Pension Board meeting, and at 5 p.m., the Board of Architectural Review. The final televised meeting for this week is a Planning Commission meeting starting at 1:30 p.m. on Thursdays. This week's agenda will be on subdivision items. There are two meetings this week Lex TV will cover but can only be seen on Lex TV's YouTube channel and on a slightly delayed basis. The first is the Downtown Lexington Management District meeting, which should be held at a remote location on Wednesday, July 10th at 8:30 a.m. The second is the city's Ethics Commission meeting, which will be held on Friday at 5:30 p.m. Now, both these meetings are only available on the Lex TV YouTube channel and should be available for viewing within a day or so of the actual start time of the meeting. That's all the meetings we have for this week, July 8th. Neil, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Chris. And that's all for this week. You can keep up with us on social media and check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter @LexRex or catch our live traffic cams on LexingtonKY.gov. And for the staff and producers on Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.